What's the date?
April 16th.
What year?
Honey, it's 2003.
Hannah, incredible job on this film. Time Cut reminds me of like a lot of the horror movies that I kind of grew up with, except this cool sci-fi twist. I'm all about that twist. I love the time travel element here. Now, Time Cut masterfully blends horror, time travel, and psychological thriller elements together. Can you talk about blending these different genres to create this cohesive story?
Yes, I also love that it's kind of a mashup of many of my favorite genres. And for me, I think the only way to sort of keep it grounded and keep it tonally manageable was to find the true heart of the movie, which to me is the story of these two sisters. It's truly a love story of sisterhood. And so once we've really found that center, then, all the horror is about one of them being in danger. The time travel element makes it fresh. And then I love, like you said, the sci-fi. We really tried to lean into that even stylistically.
Now, I love the fact that it takes place in the early 2000s because it's an era that I remember very clearly. Are there any films or shows, teen angst shows or horror films from that era that kind of influenced the aesthetic of this film?
Yes, I mean, definitely the late 90s.
Sure.
Like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Yes.
Final Destination. All of those movies had a huge influence on me. They scared me. They were also fun. So we tried to sort of like dissect the formula, and I hope that it, pays off.
Now, Madison and Antonia, they're fantastic together. What made them the perfect choices for these roles? And can you talk about them building I don't want to give anything away, but their bond, their chemistry together?
We sort of were looking for the exact right actors to play these two parts and had Madison Bailey first. So then we were trying to figure out who would the sister be who sort of balances her out. And Antonia Gentry was such an awesome get. And the two of them together, the one thing you don't know when you're making offers and looking for cast is if they truly will have natural chemistry.
Sure.
And these two girls you can see it. Like, they love each other. They have like an immediate bond. And so that shows up on screen. So we just got lucky in terms of their natural chemistry.
Now, the early 2000s, man, what a time. What elements of the early 2000s culture did you feel was essential to capture in Time Cut?
I guess this is a funny thing to say about the early 2000s, and I also I was becoming an adult at that time.
Same.
So I feel sort of loving about a lot of what I would say now are kind of tragic trends.
Sure.
The music is iconic, but mostly bad.
Yes.
The fashion is, wildly coming back, but was pretty bad. So we kind of just were always laughing in prep, celebrating sort of the awfulness of the early 2000s, if I can say that, and which is one of the fun things about this. I think for people my age, you could look back and you go, oh my gosh, we really were wearing our jeans that low. How is that humanly possible? And now they're doing it again today. So it's
almost as if I was kind of like paging through my old high school yearbook when I was watching this movie with the fashion and honestly the music. The music hit me in a way that brought up this sense of nostalgia for me. Out of those early 2000 classic songs that you have in the film, which one's your favorite?
For me, it has to be Avril Lavigne. I just immediately can remember, who I had a crush on at that time, where I had my first drink, at a bar. It's just the song that's sort of like a smell where you're like, oh yeah, that was a good time.
Now, you blend all these different genres together and you do such a great job at it. Can you talk about what was the biggest challenge blending the psychological thriller aspect with the sci-fi aspect with the horror aspect?
I think that it's challenging in horror to sometimes keep the movie alive in a way that has levity or has heart. And I think honestly, the script already did an amazing job of blending the worlds. Michael Kennedy is a genius. But then the girls, honestly, it's the girls and Griffin Gluck who keep the movie from feeling one note, if you will. So I really just relied heavily on performance and the script.
Speaking of performance, Madison and Antonia do such a fantastic job. What did they bring to their roles that went beyond the page?
Oh, everything. They created these roles themselves. We had a lot of discussions about who these women were, who they wanted to be, how they, one of my favorite things about this movie is the message, which is we are in control of our future to some extent. We have to make choices. And I just think that's so relevant right now for anyone. It's relevant at my age. It's relevant when you're young. Relationships, career, voting. Like, we have to sort of grab our, future by the throat and make it work for us, even when there's things that we can't control.
Absolutely. Well, Hannah, I love this spin on the slasher horror film. I think it's so much fun. Thank you so much for your time. You're incredible.
Thank you.
Amazing.
We're not altering the future. We're just giving it a little makeover.
Makeover.
A makeover. Yeah, like in She's All That. I don't remember that movie ending in the destruction of the space-time continuum.